شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. So last class we were, brothers, we were talking about reading Shaykh Ibn Uthaimeen's explanation of Ibn Aajrummiyyah's mention of the huruf al-khafd, huruf al-jar, those particles which, when they enter upon a word, and number one, those particles give us a clear indication that the word after it is a noun, is an ism in the Arabic language. Because the Arabic language, my brothers, is made up of how many general areas? Please type the answer. How many general areas is the Arabic language made up of? Thank you, Sa'ad and Mohsen. 3. What are they, my brothers? What are the 3 general areas of the Arabic language? MashaAllah, that was quick. Ism, fi'il, harf. Is that copy and paste? MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So, these are the 3 areas of the Arabic language. So we're dealing particularly with ism, and the Ibn Aajrummiyyah, he says, he mentions at the beginning how to recognize each of these words. He begins by mentioning the ism earlier on in the book, and he says that either it's going to be a word that has an alif and lam on it, either it's a word that has a harf al-jar coming before it, either it has a tanween. Which one am I missing? Yeah, the khafd itself, the actual kasra itself. Okay? So, those are the 4 signs, and particularly we're talking about the huruf al-khafd, or the actual particles that enter upon a noun, and their particular meanings. But before we go to that, let me ask a question. Since we spoke, or since the Shaykh mentioned these 4 alamat that actually mentioned over here on the same very page, وهي 4 علامات الخفض والتنوين ودخول ألف اللام وحروف الخفض. These are the 4 alamat of an ism. Question: is it possible to have an ism with more than 1 alama, more than 1 sign at one time? Great. Yes, it is definitely. Because a word may have a harf al-jar, and it may have alif al-lam, and definitely it's going to have a kasra after the end of it. Most cases at least. Okay. Well, it's definitely majroor or makhfoob if it has harf al-jar or harf al-khafd coming before it. Next question. Is it possible for an ism to have all 4 of the alamat coming together in it? All 4. Any more contributions? no, yes, 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 no, no, so 50-50, no. With alif and lam, the tanween disappears absolutely. Okay, brothers? Correct. So the ones amongst you who have studied Arabic elsewhere already, self-studied or somewhere else, or they have done, for example, Medina Book 1, that would let you know, in the early part of the book, you would recognize that when, when alif and lam enters upon a noun, an ism, and the first thing that happens is that the tanween of that ism disappears. And now it no longer takes tanween, and now it begins to take one dhamma. Depending on its place in the sentence, one dhamma, or one fatha, or one kasra. It's not possible for these two things to come at the same time. Alif al-lam plus tanween. So the maximum of the signs, the asma, alamat al-ism, the maximum amount at any one given time is 3. It's not possible to have 4. Let's go now to where we were, and we were just about to start an, the third of the huruf al-khaf mentioned in the list. So he said over here, even though Aajrummiyyah, he said an. Excuse me, there you go. He said an, meaning an from the huruf al-khaf. So Ibn Uthaimeen rahimahullah said, أيضا من حروف الخفض إذا دخلت على كلمة فهي اسم. It is also from the particles that make the next word take a kasra. And if it enters upon a word, then that word is an ism. إذا دخلت, if it enters على كلمة upon a word, فهي, this here over here, what's it referring to? كلمة. فهي يعني فهذه الكلمة اسم ويجب أن تخفض هذه الكلمة. This word has to take a kasra at the end of it. تقول كلمت عن جد. كلمتك عن جد. Okay, جد is ism. Alright? Now, this is a side point. As you can see, the script over here has a shadda because the word jidd, which means to work hard or to be serious, it has a shadda on the dal. So the shadda on the dal, if you want to put a kasra while the letter already has a shadda on it, and there are two ways to do it. Either you can write the kasra in the normal way, which is to put it underneath the letter, which is here in this area, or you can actually put it underneath the shadda. Although it's on top of the letter, but it's underneath the shadda. Let's see if we can get a close up on that. We'll see what's being mentioned here. Or is it disappeared too? Maybe lost it slightly. There you go. Okay, so it's not 100% clear, but you can hopefully notice that the kasra or the sign, the vowel point over here is underneath the shadda, and that is the way to write it. If you wish, at least that's when you see that the sign is under the shadda, then you read it as a kasra. Okay, and some of the prints of the Mus'haf or the Quran, you'll find it that this is how they write it. Some they write the kasra underneath the letter, and some they write it underneath the shadda. And so you shouldn't read that, misunderstand it, and say that this is not a kasra because it's on top of the letter. It's on top of the letter, yes, but it's underneath the shadda. That's the case. When you have a shadda, you can write the kasra underneath the shadda, even though it's on top of the letter. So he said over here, كَلَّمْتُكَ عَنْ جِدٍّ. I spoke to you with seriousness. Okay? Next page is further down, sorry. Excuse me, brother, it's a bit too tricky. But I move this thing with the mouse. Yeah. So, Jiddin is ism. And it has certain signs belonging to the asma. Number one, it has tanween. Number two, it has a khafd, which is the kasra, which is happening under the shadda. And also, the harf al-khafd is there, which is an. Also, in the ayah, in the Quran, it says, عن اليمين وعن الشمال كعيد. On his right, or on the right and on the left, sitting, referring to the angels that write down our deeds, towards his left, towards his right, and towards his left. Nothing clear mentioning particularly sitting on the shoulders, but mention of the area, the direction. عن اليمين وعن الشمال كعيد. Okay, so they are resting in that position, in that place. So the word al-yamin, this is an ism. It has a number of signs. What are those signs, brothers? This word al-yamin, this ayah, Surah Qaf. What are the signs that go with this word? Has alif lam, yes. It has kasra, yes. And thank you, Nihal. And it has harf al-jar an. Absolutely. Naam. So the Shaykh says, وَفِيهِ مِنْ عَلَامَاتِ الْأَسْمَاءِ, and it contains from the signs of the nouns, from the asma, دخول alif lam, الخفض, دخول حرف الخفض. كعيد. It's also ism. How do we know? Because of the tanween. Okay. What's the meaning of an? Shaykh says, وَمِن مَعَانِي عَنْ الْمُجَاوَزَةِ. Al-mujawazah, meaning to separate one thing from another. To go beyond something. To traverse beyond. Sorry for the quick movement of the screen. Just my mouse control over here is quite tricky. The mouse with the trackpad. That's why it's running up and down. Okay. وَمِن مَعَانِي عَنْ. So the Shaykh says, min ma'ani, of the meanings of an, is al-mujawaza. And the Shaykh says that about a number of particles, a number of huruf. He says, وَمِن ma'ani. And that gives us the indication that there are other meanings as well. As the Shaykh said at the beginning, it's a book for beginners, and therefore it's not exhaustive. The Shaykh is not giving the exhaustive list of huruf al-jar, even though he knows that there are more huruf al-jar and huruf al-khafd than the ones mentioned by Ibn al-Ajurrum. But he didn't give so far any indication to that. He knows that there are other meanings of these particles, and so far he hasn't given much mention of that. He's just mentioned brief meaning, at least one meaning the brothers can grasp, and an example or two of that as well, so they can understand. And this is the way of the Rabbani scholar. He teaches with the small matters before going into the big matters. He gives lays the foundation stones in order for he gives the absolutes in order for the people to be able to grasp generally rather than losing them early on. So he wants to go through the whole of the Arabic language with Ibn al-Ajurrum, giving you a general picture of how this thing is shaped. Then going over it again, second time, third time, fourth time, will solidify that shape in your mind. And then after that, you can build on your knowledge by adding other understanding, studying further different books, and going further, deeper, and understanding the different meanings and the examples of huruf al-jar and huruf al-khafd as an example. So he says, من معاني عن المجاوزة تقول رميت السهم عن القوس. رميت means I threw, but in this case he's talking about he released the arrow. And over here, sahm means arrow. And this word qaws means bow. Ramaytu means release, threw. They threw the arrow from the bow. Or, I was avoiding to say the word from, but an, al-qaws. They released the arrow, something, the bow. So the word an, therefore, as the Shaykh says, al-mujawaza, that it has gone beyond. Okay, I released the arrow beyond the bow. This is not how we're going to say it in English, but this is the reason why the word an is being used. Because these two things, the saham and the bow, the saham and the qaws, the arrow and the bow, they were together, they were sitting with each other, resting against each other, and all of a sudden, the saham, the arrow, has gone far beyond moving my arrow in the same way. It's gone far beyond the actual, the bow itself. So, jawazahu, it surpassed it, it left it. Okay, and this is what the Shaykh is saying, al-mujawaza. That's why the word an is being used over there. Shaykh explains, يعني أن السهم جاوز القوس. The arrow went beyond the bow. Meaning, خرج منه, meaning that it exited from it. Then, another example. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُخَالِفَكُمْ إِلَى مَا أَنْهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ. This is a statement of a number of the Anbiya. In this particular case, in Surah Hud, I don't know which ayah Nabi who said it, in ayah number 88. وَمَا أُرِيدُ, and I do not want to oppose, أُخَالِفَكُمْ, differ from you or oppose you to that which I forbid you anhu, that I forbid you from doing. This is the meaning of mujawaza is an who. The thing that I have forbidden you to do. Meaning don't go beyond the thing that I have forbidden you from doing. And the meaning of mujawaza was mentioned by Ibn Malik in his Alfiyyah. He's one of the great scholars or famous scholars of Nahu, Arabic language. He said, بِعَنْ تَجَاوُزًا عَنَا مَنْ قَدْ فَطَنْ. بِعَنْ تَجَاوُزًا عَنَا مَنْ قَدْ فَطَنْ. This is the line of poetry that Ibn Malik used in his Alfiyyah, in his 1,000 lines of poetry about the Arabic language, showing that the meaning of an is tajawuz or mujawaza. That is the meaning. So the an, the meaning of which is tajawuzan, meaning mujawaza, to go beyond, to surpass, for those who understand. Man qad fatan, for those who understand. حتى يعطوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون. This ayah in Surah At-Tawbah, speaking about the Ahlul Kitab, who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that they will be given, such that they have to give the jizya, the tax imposed upon them. An yadin wa hum saghirun, while they are lowly from their hands. Shaykh says, يعني تتجاوز أيديهم. Al-jizya, meaning that the jizya, the tax, surpasses their hands, leaves their hands and goes into the hands of the Muslims. تتجاوز أيديهم وتنتقل من أيديهم إلى أيدي المسلمين. So an over here meaning تجاوزا or مجاوزة. Okay, the fourth of the حروف الجر على. إذا دخلت على كلمة فلكلمة اسم. When this word particle comes upon a word, and that word is an ism, يجب خفضها. It has to take a kasra. على الله توكلنا. على الله توكلنا. This word, لفظ الجلالة, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name over here, it's got a kasra on it. Brothers, why does it have a kasra on it? Correct. Because of the harf al-jar. Because of the ala. Ala Allahi tawakkalna. So, lafz al-jalala, Allah is ism, and the sign of this being ism is that the أنه دخلت عليه على, that ala entered upon it. وأalso وأن فيه الألف واللام. ألف واللام. Allah, the original word being al-ilahu, according to some of the linguists in the Arabic language. And the Shaykh also says another sign of it being a noun is al-khaf. What's the meaning of ala? Al-ulu wal-isti'la, meaning to rise above, to go over, and to be in power. Allahu A'lam, the translation of al-isti'la, that to be above something. Raqitu means to go up. Raqitu ala as-sathi. As-sathi means the roof. Raqitu as-sathi. Raqitu ala as-sathi. I climbed up. Ala means upon the roof. معناه al-ulu. And Ibn al-Malik, he said, the Shaykh gives the name of his book, Al-Alfiyyah, in the chapter, Fasl fi ma'ani huruf al-jar. If you go to this area around the 375th, 357th line of poetry in the Alfiyyah of Imam Malik, of Ibn Malik, you go to his Alfiyyah, around the area of 375, he's got the chapter, Fasl fi ma'ani huruf al-jar. Chapter relating to the meanings of huruf al-khaf, huruf al-jar. So he says, ala lil-isti'la. Ala means to rise above, to be above. Allah Ta'ala also says in the Quran, ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى عَلَى الْعَرْشِ. Al-arsh. What would you say about this word? What do you know about this word, brothers? And what's your reasoning? The question was, what do you know about this word and what is your reasoning? So some of you said yes, harful khaf, others said ala, khaf itself is there. What can you tell me about this word, brothers? Okay, the meaning, throne. Can you tell me anything else? The throne of Allah, exactly. Our topic here, discussion in the linguistic sense, that this is an ism. What can you tell me about this word? You can tell me that this is an ism. How do you know? Because of the things that you mentioned. Ala, and because of the kasra, and because of alif and lam. Hold on. Let's move this up to the top of the page. Okay. Shaykh says, if somebody was to say, وَلَوْ قَالَ قَائِلٌ عَلَى الْعَرْشُ, Dhamma, this is called rafa. Rafa al-arsh. Rafa meaning putting a dhamma on the word arsh, as opposed to khafd al-arsh, putting a kasra on it. That would be wrong, because the word that has harful khaf has to have a khaf after it. يجب أن يخفض. لو قال على العرش in نصب العرش, نصب speaking about refers to, نصب refers to fatha. So here you have the three terminologies, or the terms rather, with regards to kasra, fatha and dhamma. Dhamma is referred to as rafa', fatha is referred to as nasb, kasra is referred to as khaf. So if someone says ala al-arsha, the nasb al-arsha is wrong, clearly, because harf al-khaf la budda an yukhfid, meaning it has to make the next word take a kasra. Therefore you have to say ala al-arshi, bijar al-arsh. And sometimes, brothers, this actually helps. This actually sometimes helps when you're reciting the Quran and you come to a word and you're stuck. You don't remember. Did that word have a dhamma? Did it have a kasra? Did it have a fatha? And just with some contemplation you realize that, hang on, this word has a harf al-jar. While you're reciting you realize that, and then you immediately you know that it definitely doesn't have a fatha or a dhamma. But be careful with that rule, because until you study all the other aspects of it, of the harf al-jar and the asma, that can be confusing. As I told you before, some nouns take a fatha in place of a kasra, but they will never have alif and lam. Okay, let's try to go a little bit further down. There we go. The next one, the fifth one, is fi. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, referring to al-i'tikaf, and that you should abstain from relations with your wives. Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا تُبَاشِرُوهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. And do not have relations with them while you are doing i'tikaf fi al-masajidi, fil masajidi. So, Shaykh said, if you find a word that has fi after it, before it, then definitely it is an ism, as is in the ayah, and also as the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَمَجْتَمَعَ قَوْمٌ فِي بَيْتٍ مِّن بُيُوتِ اللَّهِ. You can remember the end of that hadith or a portion of it. Reciting the book of Allah and studying it amongst themselves. And this includes any aspect of Islamic knowledge, because all of that relates to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Majtama'a qawmun, never do a people come together. Ijtama'a qawmun, people come together. Fi baytin min buyutillahi, in a house from the houses of Allah. Yet al-hadith, meaning, to the end of the hadith. This hadith is in Sahih Muslim. يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ, reciting the book of Allah. وَيَتَدَارَسُونَهُ بَيْنَهُمْ, and reciting the book of Allah and studying it amongst themselves. إِلَّا نَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّكِينَةِ, except that four things happen. نَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّكِينَةِ, the sakina, peace, serenity descends upon them. وَحَفَّتْهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, and the angels surround them. إِلَّا نَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّكِينَةِ وحفتهم الملائكة وغشيتهم الرحمة, and mercy envelopes them. وذكرهم الله في من عنده, and Allah makes mention of them. Those are the four things that happen as a result of gathering together for the sake of learning the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So explaining these two proofs and examples, وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. Al-Masajid is a noun because it has three signs. What are they, brothers? Number one, that's number two, that's number three. Harf al-jar, al, and the kasra at the end, or the khaf. Those are the three, and the Shaykh mentions them over here. فيها من علامات الأسماء 3 علامات حرف الخفض والألف واللام والخفض. Go down to the next page. And the hadith وما اجتمع قوم في بيت 3 علامات تنوين, and the fact that it's خفض and حرف الخفض في. Also في بيت من بيوت الله, 2 signs, حرف الخفض and the خفض itself. And also لفظ الجلالة, again ألف واللام and كسرة. The Shaykh says في لها معان كثيرة, has many meanings, منها الظرفية. You may know the word الظرف, ضا را فا. ظرف means an envelope in the Arabic language. In common day use, ظرف means envelope. But in linguistic use, ظرفية means a time or a place in which something takes place, in which something happens, a time or a place in which something happens. So one of the meanings of ظرفية, one of the meanings of fi is ظرفية, meaning it tells a person, it indicates a place or a time in which an event happened. So Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ, while you are doing i'tikaf. فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ, meaning the masjid is a dharf. The masjid is a place in which actions take place, which the i'tikaf takes place. How do you know? Because the word fi created that meaning. And also, الرَّجُلُ فِي الْمَجْلِسِ, the man is in the gathering, in the sitting. So, al-majlisi, this is, complete my sentence please, this is, it's an ism, because, a majlis is a place, absolutely well done, it's a dharf because of the fi, and it's an ism because it has harf al-jar, alif al-lam, and kasra at the end of it. Then the Shaykh says, المجلس ظرف. Okay. الماء, another example, الماء في الكأس, the water is in the glass. So the Shaykh says, as you brothers are about to say, that the Ka'as is a place for the water to settle in. So it's a dharf. So one of the main meanings of fi is a dharfiyah. Rubba. This is our friend that the brothers were asking about in the first class. What is the meaning of rubba? And I said we'll wait for it, inshallah the Shaykh will explain it. Rubba rajulin laqituhu. Rubba rajulin laqituhu rajulin. This word over here, how do we know rajul is an ism? Absolutely. So it has, how many signs can we say altogether? 3. 3 signs. That is the kasratain, as the brothers mentioned, the khaf in the first place. Okay, so you're saying, some brothers are saying 2, but actually don't forget that the word rubba rajulin, it has kasra, yes, but it also has tanween. There's 2 kasras, so that same place there has 2 signs incorporated. One is, so the first is this letter here, the harf al-jar, and the other one is kasra, the other one is that the kasra is actually tanween. Rubba rajulin has 3 signs. And then the Shaykh says, what's the meaning of rubba? It means taqleel. That there is little of something. It can actually also mean a takthir. There is a lot of something. Depending on the context. So, رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, it is possible that I might meet somebody. And if you're standing in the desert and you say رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, then this shows taqleel or takthir. Taqleel or takthir. Standing in the desert and you say رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, it's possible that I meet somebody here, I meet a man here. So, taqleel means little possibility of something. Takthir means a high possibility of something. Little of something, taqleel, and much of something, takthir. So, rubba, my brother Imran, means, when you put rubba before a noun, it can have either of two opposite meanings. It can either mean that the word after it is unlikely to happen, is like unlikely, or there is a few of them, or it can also mean there are many of them, depending on the rest of the sentence and the context of the sentence. Right? Everyone's like, okay? So the question I said therefore was, if a person said, رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, okay, rubba in itself, you're asking for the translation of the word? Allahu A'lam. I don't think I've translated the word before. I don't actually have a translation of the word in my mind right now. And I can pull it out from the dictionary for you, inshallah, in a moment, okay, while we're in the lesson. And I don't think he's going to rubba my word, but in any case. رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, if you were to say that while you're standing in the desert, then it would probably mean taqleel, as the brother said. And it's not likely you're going to meet someone, there's few people. And if you said that while you're standing in for example, at a wedding gathering, then, or at the masjid, at Salat al-Jum'ah, رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, I'm possibly going to meet someone here that I know. Is that taqleel or takthir? Takthir. Meaning, takthir. At a wedding, at a Jum'ah Salah, at a masjid, it's possibly, is high likely you're going to meet somebody. And so a person says, رُبَّ رَجُلٍ لَقِيتُهُ, he pretty much expects that he's going to meet that person. He's going to meet somebody. And there is a hadith, the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, رُبَّ كَاسِيَةٍ فِي الدُّنْيَا عَارِيَةٌ فِي الْآخِرَةِ. Yeah? A woman who is clothed well in this world, in this life, will be unclothed in the hereafter. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said this to his family members when he was waking them up for tahajjud, possibly in the month of Ramadan, and admonishing them and warning them and reminding them of the importance of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. رُبَّ كَاسِيَةٍ فِي الدُّنْيَا عَارِيَةٍ فِي الْآخِرَةِ. And this is not taqleel, this is takthir. There will be many women who are in this world clothed, in the hereafter they will be unclothed, meaning they will be in punishment. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Shaykh continues. We'll have a couple of minutes left. We'll see what we can take, inshallah. He says, وَالْبَاءُ وَالْكَافُ وَاللَّامُ. Let me take you right back to the beginning. We're on page 24. We'll come back to this place in a second. Right back to the beginning where you can see the list that was originally mentioned by Ibn Aajrummiyyah in the main text. He said, وحروف الخفض وحروف الخفض هي من إلى وعن that's 3 وعلى that's 4 وفي that's 5 ورب that's 6. Then he said والباء والكاف واللام 7, 8, 9. Then he said وحروف القسم واو والباء والتاء. So Ibn Uthaimeen over here says والباء والكاف واللام. Let's go to 24. He said over here just at the end of 24. Shaykh said over here, and the author said, Ibn al-Ajurrum said, والباء والكاف واللام. الكلمات التي في الأول يقول رحمه الله من وإلى وعن وعلى وفي ورب. He said these حروف الجر, he pronounced them as complete words. He didn't say mim noon, alif lam ya, or alif lam alif, or ain noon. He said he read them as words, min, وإلى وعن. Shaykh says, الست هذه قالها بلفظها. He said them by their words. Then he said, والباء قالها باسمها. Then he mentioned the next one by the name of the letter. He didn't say وبي. And the kaf, he didn't say وكي. And the lam, he didn't say ولي. لماذا? Why? Shaykh says, he says, لأن المعروف عند النحويين, because what is well known amongst the grammarians, أن الكلمة إذا كانت على حرف واحد, if there was a word that was only one letter, ينطق باسمها, then the letter itself was pronounced. وإذا كانت على حرفين, if it was made up of 2 letters or more, فأكثر, فتذكر بلفظها, it's read as a word. فقل من حرف جر, لا تقول الميم والنون حرف جر. And this also goes back to the discussion of alif wal lam and al. Okay. لزيد تقول اللام حرف جر ولا تقول لي حرف جر. طيب. My brothers, we have reached the time that we set for the lesson. I know it's late where you guys are. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, bless your time and your learning, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us sincere upon His path and make these actions for His sake alone. Yeah, brothers, we'll stop there, inshallah, at the beginning of page 25, and we'll discuss the rest of the huruf al-jar and what comes after it, inshallah, in the next class on Wednesday, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. If the brothers have any questions that they feel they wanted to ask but they were not able to, go ahead, inshallah. Yeah, let me just pull out my small dictionary here that I have, see if I can get you a translation for it. I think the translation may differ according to its place in the sentence. Okay, now, in Hans Way, this is the dictionary that I mainly use as a quick reference guide. I often go to Hans Way, and it says over here, Rubba, many. Rubba rajulin, many a man. Rubba marratin, many a time. And Rubbama, sometimes, perhaps, maybe, possibly. Okay. And you have the ayah that was being referred to by some of the brothers. نعم أخي صابر. It seems like the Arabs when they refer to the huruf al-jar, they refer to them in a mu'annath form. Yes, as a feminine form. And what's the reasoning behind that? I don't know. It's at the beginning of Surah Al-Hijr. Perhaps, is some translations say, others, perhaps, often. ربما يود الذين كفروا. Perhaps, I think Shaykh Muhammad, Dr. Muhammad Mohsin Khan, he says perhaps, in brackets, often, will those who disbelieve wish that they were Muslims. ربما يود الذين كفروا لو كانوا مسلمين. So, perhaps often. ربما and ربا are two different words. Well, the original word is ربا, and the ma will be added to ربا to create an extended meaning. Yeah. Like we say, for example, هذا, the original word is the, and then the letter ha to show ha is to show is to, I can't remember the word to explain the meaning of the word ha, but ha is added to the in order to give the, which is the ishara, the actual indication, the ishara, to give it an extended meaning. من أي شيء. Absolutely. A is ism. A is ism. How do you know it's ism, Akhi Kareem? You have to be sure that's an ism, but how can you be definitely sure? Straight away. Yes, apply the rule. Harf jar. Absolutely. Absolutely. Harf jar. Apply the rule and you're safe. May Allah Ta'ala bless you and bless us and forgive us for our shortcomings and improve us in our condition, keep us firm upon His path. Fadl Akhi Kareem Muzammil is yours, inshallah. The floor is yours.